Hello, and welcome to the Wall of Weird. Lisa and I are going to be talking about Superman and Lois, Season 2, Episode 3, Into the Mines. So, we finally get to find out who's in that mine in this episode, which is interesting. A little bit of a twist. What we will get there. We're going to start from the beginning or from this slide. So Lana's starting her campaign for mayor, and she already is getting into a little bit of a snag because they remember those reverse mortgages, which they talked about back in the pilot. I was impressed they brought that back. And she also had to do with Morgan Edge and telling them to go do his experiment. So that's 2 strikes down for Lana. She has done a lot to help the town and trying to earn back their trust. So this will be interesting campaign. What do you think, Lisa?
Yeah, she's really come up with some good ideas to make use of the money to get the people of ex-Smallville Pats back to the town, put the money into the town and the farms and the businesses. I just felt there was something a bit weird about that guy Chuck, though. I thought he was a plant. I'm thinking, his best buddies with George Dean, and he probably got in there to sort of like say something and wind Lana up. And then later, when she's having the discussion in the garage over a game of darts and a nice glass of wine, when she's talking to Sarah, it's like she's going on about pretending, and she's going along with the ride, and so that's something to
yeah. So that was interesting. The whole I'm drinking wine in the garage so that my husband doesn't see because he's an alcoholic and he's doing really well.
She's just had a bath and she's just relaxing, she's taking it out on the dartboard. Yeah. And she's, so good on her. And then she has, so she's talking about the campaign, thinking it's a pretend and a lie. She's having a little cozy chat with Sarah. What did you think about the chat with Sarah? There was something weird that put me off about that as well. It was like, oh, well, Jordan doesn't deserve you if he doesn't forgive you. I think that was a bit of a...
I mean, this kind of, which I was going to get into when we talked about Jordan, but she did kind of cheat on him. It wasn't, just about keeping the secret. It was the fact that she was in a relationship with somebody else while she was gone.
Yeah, but Lana's saying if he doesn't forgive you for cheating on,
then he's not a good person. I mean,
yeah, for you cheating on him, then he doesn't deserve you. That was just a bit bizarre. Bizarre.
It is. They seem to be brushing over this. Really, I mean, they're young, but still, it's not going to really set up trust, and not just the keeping the secret, which I know that they're trying to go into. But really, is he going to trust her with hanging out with other girls? I don't know.
Plus, I don't know how many glasses of wine she's had prior to that, but she just didn't seem surprised about the whole, ooh, I kissed someone at camp. Does everyone kiss people at camp? I don't know. I haven't been to a camp.
Here we are. We're in 2021, Lisa. It's supposed to be completely normal.
Mm-hmm.
It would not be when I was a teenager, that's for sure. Yeah, and she does help. I like how she helps her, though, come up with the idea, and it's nice that she's being real, because I love politicians that are real, which is very rare. I'll say that.
I really did like the kitchen scene that they set up with Lana. She was herself. She was in the kitchen. She was talking about, favourite recipes and letting her heart out. And people responding to that. She got lots of comments on the video. So I think her being open will get the town around, hopefully.
Yeah, one thing to say is that even if she hasn't always helped them in the right way, she has always had her heart out there for the town. She's always dedicated herself to the people. But then it does play into, well, it's just because you have the right intent. If you're not doing things that are actually beneficial, that's not going to help either. So, although the other guy's a complete douche, I mean, to take that as you will. All right. So let's transition into the next story here. So Sam Lane is back. Oh, I loved having him back. He really brought some power to this episode. Really appreciated that.
And he looks so laid back, you know, out there fishing. And then his get up, it was just like, you know, a t-shirt and a jacket. He wasn't in full uniform, so he was sort of like really, you know, retiring. Yeah, out there.
It was a
on the
beautiful shot too on the
lake.
lake. That was great. And it was interesting to hear the dynamic between the sisters and the father and how he's always tried to play the middle. And boy, did Lois come down on him again. She doesn't get him off the hook.
Yeah, he really went out to, you know, when they were in John's RV, he really went out to apologise to her for not being there. You know, and he's that Lucy and Lois, you know, is the centre of his world, and he apologises. Calls Lois pumpkin, yeah.
He was great. I really thought the scene between them was very powerful. I also appreciated that he reflected, read the story, tried to talk to her sister, and then we see when Allie comes in at the end there that clearly her sister has been pulled back into this cult.
Yeah, she's never had, you know, left control of the cult. Yeah.
No, which is really upsetting. So it's going to be not only difficult for Lois at the paper, but also now her sister is sort of in danger again because she's well put back into that cult. So it's going to be interesting. I'm also interested if they're going to weave this story into anything else going on. We'll have to see. So we'll move along. Whoa. Jordan, you're 15 and you want to tell her your secret and expose everything to her. And then Clark, understandably, when he says no, and Jordan's almost acting like, hey, I'm going to go do it anyway, because he kind of gave that vibe.
Yeah, Clark, definitely.
It's the first time that we see the heat vision coming from anger, which in Smallville wasn't normally for anger.
Yeah. I mean, 15's
that was surprising.
15's just too young to lay that kind of secret on anyone or to share. Because 15, you change your mind, you know. As Clark says, you know, he didn't tell his secret to Lana because he didn't think she was the one, you know. And I think 15's, you know, your first person, just a bit
it's not
maturity level.
I thought that Smallville did a better job understanding, helping the viewer understand why his secret had to be protected, not just for Clark's sake, but I'm not really one for the argument to protect you because I think that knowing more could help you, but it does protect you in a way because that burden of the secret is so immense. To know
it did go down with Pete,
knowingly lie. No, and that's what happened with Pete. Is that burden of the secret was just too much for him to handle. I mean, to have to lie to everyone all the time, it takes a lot out of you, you know, and it like part of your soul in a way to have to continually lie. And not only that, but then if someone confronts you, if you really don't know, then you're not lying and you don't have to put on the show. But if you do know, hiding it becomes more difficult.
It's same in Smallville with Chloe when she forgot memory of Clark, and you know, in Bride, it was like, oh, something's just lifted off me. The weight of the world's gone, you know, because she doesn't know Clark's secret anymore. So
Yes.
It is a big burden to put onto someone, and
Especially at
no,
15 years
they're
old.
both too young, and Clark definitely says, let's talk about it in a couple of years.
Yes. Well, in a year. He said, we'll revisit this in a year if you still feel the same way. Because a lot of people, when they're 15 in love, it's just not there. And plus, she's already cheated on him. So I don't know how that's going to go. But the scene was very powerful with Clark getting angry. Know how he feels. And then to feel afterwards, like every parent has been there when you lose it for a minute, and then you're like, well, I kind of didn't handle that the way that I would have liked to handle it. It's a very human thing. It's interesting coming from Clark, where he has to deal with these abilities coming out, and obviously we know that all this rage isn't even his, and this isn't normal for him. So this is something that Clark's struggling with. And then he gives her the locket, and that's how he makes up to Jordan, is he gives him something special to give to Sarah, this locket, which was his grandmother's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then they make up, and we'll see. The other thing that kind of bothered me, though, about her being, well, it was just because I was hiding a secret that I was acting that way towards him. But she seemed like she didn't even want to be around him last episode. And now it's like, oh, I just want to get back. I don't know. I didn't really get that.
You just
whole
so
thing.
brushed him off. It was unbelievable last episode.
I mean, completely like, I don't even want to be near you, It didn't, to me, feel like I have this burden of a secret and I'm trying to keep it from you. It felt more like, I don't really want to be in this relationship anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just wasn't played that way to me. And I'm still not on board with this relationship. It's not. I will say the scene at the end was sweet. That was probably one of my favorite Jordan and Sarah scenes, for a couple that I don't really appreciate at all. And we will move along. Jonathan. What happened to this kid? I don't understand this one. Because last season, we see him continually doing the right thing, always going to his dad about things. Why? I understand that he wants to get back in football and he doesn't want to have to be competing against someone with powers. And I understand that he also probably feels not very confident in himself because his brother and his father are supermen and he's just normal. I get that. But I mean, this kind of took me for a surprise. I was really shocked. I wasn't shocked that he punched the guy, but that I understood. But what I didn't get is at the end when he goes to get the drugs from his girlfriend. I'm like, okay. So I couldn't believe that he didn't tell Clark as soon as he found out that kid was taking X kryptonite. That's very dangerous. Also, I'm a little confused about the X kryptonite thing.
It did lead up in the last episode when they were having the practice on the field, and he just felt so out of it because he wasn't getting picked, and he went from a star quarterback to nothing, especially after getting injured last year. So you do feel sorry for him, but Timmy's just an ass and he's showing off. And he's
well, not only that, but I feel like if he exposed Timmy for what he was doing, then that he would be out of the way and out of the competition anyway. So he didn't have to join him in doing the bad thing. And I'm very confused about the punches. First of all, the other kid, if he's souped up with all this extra strength, how much strength does he have? Why it doesn't seem to be full strength? It seems to be just a little bit stronger. So I don't know if it's something the way you take it or whatever. But I would think that if he punched Jonathan, he would have knocked him out.
When they inhaled it might just be a temporary thing if you're, doing the whole inhaling thing.
He was throwing all these passes. Yeah. Really good. Just a few minutes ago, he had some strength.
He might have had something just before they had the weight practice just to show off.
I mean, he probably, there must be some correlation between how much you have and how strong you get maybe we'll learn more, or maybe this will be like kryptonite where you have no clue how it's going to affect them. It could
or how
just
it's
hurt a little
refined.
bit and I can throw it away, or a little bit of it means that you're like completely gone. I don't know. It seems like it's going to be like that, which always drives me crazy. I want to know specific, like make a rule and stick to it. And this is very all over the place. And then Jonathan ends up punching Clark.
Did you see him like go?
Yes, it was a very delayed reaction because he was completely
deliberate.
shocked.
Yeah.
But he was shocked that he was punched. Yeah. And then he fell. Like it was a delayed reaction. It was like, oh shoot, I got punched. I better fall back. And then when he fell back, it was funny. But part of it was like, shouldn't Jonathan have broken his hand when he punched him? Well, or did Clark react enough to move away? Maybe it was just enough because it didn't look like Clark pulled away, but he must have pulled away a little bit because otherwise Jonathan would have broken his hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
The locker room
or maybe you know, Jonathan still has latent abilities we don't know yet, and
some invulnerability. I'm not sure what happened there. You know, if anyone's watching live and wants to put in the comments. So then we had the locker room scene, and that was amazing. Actually, that was my favorite scene in the whole episode.
That was pretty scary up to a point.
Oh, intense. I mean, wow.
Jonathan, come with me now.
And when he threw that helmet and it went into the wall.
Did he go in the vending machine or something? Yeah, it was like that.
You pissed off someone that's the super strong being. And then
the whole
heat vision. Yeah. Oh my gosh, he couldn't, and he had to burn through his hands to do it. And then later, he feels so bad for Clark and for Jonathan in that scene. But did they pull the helmet out of the wall because someone bit me? How the hell did they get the helmet in the wall? And then Jonathan has to drive him home, and he's not really driving. You're like, all right, you can make it up to me, Dad, if you teach me how to drive. Okay, so that's good. He's 15, so we're gonna do the 16 here in Superman and Lois. In Smallville, they were driving at 14, which actually is not completely out of the realm of possibility in Kansas around the year 2001 on a farm. But I liked it. That was like, all right, here's the show that I loved from season 1. I really felt that came back in those scenes. I really appreciated that.
When Clark was back at the farm with Lois, though, he still had the burns on his hand. He hadn't healed, which I thought was a bit weird.
Yeah, well, I think that he burned them so badly. I mean, they were mostly healed, but not like he probably almost burned through his hands. It's very interesting how strong his heat vision is, right? That it affected him like that.
Or maybe he had some level of vulnerability when he was taken over, and he was in that moment that he didn't have his full invulnerability.
Well, although the time that he had to take Jordan's heat vision, it did hurt. I mean, that was painful for him. So, and Jordan wasn't fully powered. Yeah. So I don't think that that's out of the realm of normal for him. So going into Clark's struggle now, you know, we'll move on from Jonathan's craziness. So he starts off flying and he knows that he's having these headaches. I'm like, as soon as I saw him flying, I said, this is a really bad idea because you're going to crash and you could kill someone.
If you're going to do it, do it over the ocean.
What was he thinking? You know that it's going to happen. Boom, he makes a crater. I mean, he would have killed, he could have easily killed multiple people, destroyed an entire house. It's dangerous. Just going to put that out there. But he's struggling with being taken over again. He's feeling the rage to this being that's in the mine. He talks to Lois about it.
Yeah, all this
And
anger and it's not his. Yeah.
yeah, all this anger. So he's got all this anger building from somebody else. Plus, when he puts on the anger of his own family problems, it's just boils over.
What did
Which
you
is
think?
actually interesting if you think about mental health in general. You know, if you're normally calm and you're not stressed out about things, you can handle that getting jarred or situations that would make you angry. You don't boil over. But if you're stressed out about other things or upset, and then even just a little bit of something can send you over the edge. So that's what was happening with him. He was struggling with his heat vision when he gets angry, and then he went down with the headaches. So that,
What
and
did
he
you,
talks
what?
to Lois, really
Mhm.
creams, really not happy with him for how he was with the boys. You know, I thought she was a little harsh considering how hard he's trying and what's going on with him right now. But I guess in a way it was good because he did try to make it up with the boys.
What did you think to the comment that Sam made about, it's a national security threat, and then Lois goes on, no, it's a family situation.
Yeah,
Because it could affect the boys. It's like, yeah,
I
it's still a world
yeah,
threat, though.
it's
If we get a
still
bad
a national
signal.
security threat. Sam was right about that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not wrong. I mean, when Clark went down on the porch, he's like, "Get away from me!" If he can't control himself, he's just so powerful that he can destroy things. I mean, he is holding it together enough. I guess I saw both sides. One side, I understood where Sam was coming from. But from Lois's perspective, what I understand is I didn't think that it was at the point where he was completely out of control.
Mm-hmm.
He
Now,
mostly was
yeah.
holding it together. I didn't, I guess, think that he was a danger.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you have threat levels, I would like put it in like yellow, like he wasn't in red where Sam was saying, but it wasn't just a family issue. It's also something to keep an eye on. But I didn't think it was okay, we need to stop everything and put you in a cage till we figure this out moment.
Right. Also, in this episode, we had another family secret as well. It was the fact that John Henry didn't exactly, talk to Natalie and about his involvement with all this with the mines. So she was concerned, and she had a go at Jonathan for John Henry being put in danger, as we find out later. But yeah, there's a big secret there. They didn't actually talk about it.
Yes, because
Was he protecting her? Because he
well,
didn't really want to go in the suit.
I watched the episode twice.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that a lot of this happens in one day. So they talk while the kids are at school because the kids go to school, and then that's when they talk to him and say you need to go in the mines. And then she comes home from school and he's in the mines. So I don't think necessarily that he made the conscious choice to not tell her. It was more like, hey, I'm not gonna like interrupt her at school to tell her that I'm going to go do this. So that changed my opinion on that a little bit. I understand where she is coming from, that she wants to know, what he's doing. But I also think that she did need to respect that, hey, if the world, that's who he is. I mean, he's been that hero. He's not just going to stand by and watch something happen and not do anything about it. It's just not in his nature. And especially when he knows he has all this power. And I loved his character in this episode. So he goes into the mines and undercover to go investigate, and he finds that there was a detonation happening, and I forget her name, but she
Dr.
knocks him
Faulkner?
out.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, it's a Smallville knockout. There's the first one.
There was still a lot of ex-kryptonite in there that was blood splattered, though, wasn't it? Yeah.
There was, but I was thinking it didn't take much to knock him unconscious. Convenient plot.
Well, I think she did both. She whacked him over the head, and then when he was sort of like coming round, she whacked him in the face. So it was a double blow.
Okay. People just don't go unconscious that easy. So then it was very cool, and I'll show it up again because I thought it was a neat graphic when he goes into the suit. And has the suit come, and the suit's
whole scene was amazing.
Repaired. Yeah, it wasn't fully repaired. It didn't have full power. It apparently gets power from the sun, so it's similar to Clark in that way. And he goes to fight what's come out of the mine. And we get Bizarro, which it must be what it is. So they kind of twisted that. I also found it interesting that earlier in the episode they mentioned Doomsday again. So they're still kind of leading the audience on again to think it's Doomsday, and then turn around and it's Bizarro. But going back to John Henry's fight here, he has this great scene with his daughter at the end where they're going to go and repair the suit. And it sounds like somewhere other than the barn. So maybe we'll get a new cool set for the tech part of it.
Yes. So the post-attack, Natalie had a go at John because you're not Superman, you don't recover, and his suit was in a bit of a state. So imagine if he wasn't in the suit, it'd be well messed up.
He would have been dead.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because he heard that he's almost down to zero power, but he wasn't going to stop fighting. He's willing to. He is a soldier for sure. He's willing to risk it all.
Yeah, and we had the post-fight scene where Sam, Lois, John, and Clark were all back in the air talking about, is this evil Clark from your universe?
Yeah, they're trying to figure out who it is. They're not sure.
Yeah, but John Henry, his suit had he was fighting with red solar flares there, wasn't he, when he was going like that?
He was.
And it was taking him down, so it had that effect.
Well, no, it didn't have the takedown effect. It did ruin the suit. Which brings me to a question about, because that's what he said during that scene was, well, it couldn't have been Evil Clark because Evil Clark was taken down by the red
solar flares,
red solar flares, where this guy wasn't. So there's something different about him. He did end up destroying part of his suit, and that's what took him away. And I'm wondering if he was wearing this suit to protect him from the sun, because Bizarro gets negatively affected by the sun, and then he goes up to the fortress thinking that the fortress is there, and he wasn't very happy to find that it wasn't there. But if we look at his face, his face isn't looking too good.
No, I think that's just normal face for Bizarro in the comics.
Is that normal face for Bizarro?
It's normal. Yeah.
I was just wondering if that's why he's wearing the suit, or how did he I don't know. We got to find out more about this suit.
Well, he might
and where it came from.
He might have needed the suit to do this sort of like cross-dimensional thing that Lara was talking about in the previous episode. Now, I didn't actually, because I don't speak in reverse, but I didn't quite catch what Bizarro said when he was pummeling Clark. But I did catch, because it was a palindrome, when he was in the fortress, he definitely said mom. And mom's the same, backwards, forwards. And he definitely said it when he was in the fortress. Did you catch that?
No. Yeah. Actually, I did not think about the fact that he was saying things backwards, because I would have looked at the transcript. I'm going to see here if I can get the transcript.
It might not be ready yet. Someone else.
Usually they get out pretty quick.
Yep, well, you've got to know someone who can talk backwards to be able to.
What's annoying is that the person that does the transcripts doesn't put the character's name that says the.
Yeah.
So it makes it harder to find stuff.
Perhaps we need Serena Swan to do the backwards translation. Because she actually learned it all for when she was playing Zatanna in Smallville. That's what got the part. She actually learned to speak backwards.
Yeah. Let's see. It was nice to see the dynamic between all the kids. They're getting along really well. They did say there's a bizarre version of Superman on the loose.
Yeah.
I caught that.
Yeah, it was nice to see the kids bonding and like, what, you mean I can't play because I'm a girl? And it's like, and then she ended up beating him, didn't she, afterwards? And she got the victory chips in the kitchen.
No, they only wrote speaking alien language.
Yeah. It's not alien language, it's just backwards. But yeah, no.
Well, then they didn't catch it.
Yeah,
And
Bizarro.
I have to see.
Probably
if I had known, I probably
would
have
have put
put
it through a loop to, when someone's
look at
talking
it.
backwards.
If you can get subtitles, that's how I figured out what they were saying in Smallville, because the subtitles, they actually wrote the words backwards, so you could read it.
Yeah, but it definitely said
that's
more.
Interesting. I'll have to see if we can figure that out. All right. So any last thoughts before we go for our ratings?
Well, I think the thing to think is, moving to the next episode, is Jonathan really going to get powers on XK?
He'll probably get strength. It'll be interesting because he has some Kryptonian in him, so I wonder how it's gonna amplify.
It might just cancel it out and he don't get any.
I don't know. I think it's gonna affect him somehow. I don't think it'll cancel him out. It might actually make him start to have powers.
Well, as long as he doesn't sort of like have eradicator effects and he gets, it gets another Kryptonian inside him, and it turns bad. Let's see.
I don't think that. I don't think so. But I do see that these characters might be like Cain and Abel. I'm just gonna put that out there. I think the brothers could be.
I hope not.
Later on. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to keep watching. All right. So what are you going to rate the show, this episode? From a 1 to a 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst.
Right. Well, I really love it with this episode, how they kept the whole Bizarro under wraps. And we all thought it was Doomsday. Everyone thought it was Doomsday. So that was a really good touch on this episode. There was a lot of family stuff going on. That was good. It had more connection with series 1. So I would probably... what did we go with last week? Was it a 3? I'd certainly put it up at a 4.
I'm going to go with a 4 as well. And if anyone is watching live, they can put their ratings in, and I will put them on the screen. Yeah, so I did think this episode was a lot better than the other episodes this season have been. Like I said, there was a few things that were really emotional. I really enjoyed that. And I thought that they did a great job. And we have some comments from Durbania. So I'm going to throw them on. He agreed. Jordan is a good kid and she cheated. Good on him for forgiving her, but still, I don't care. Give me that epic ending. That's great.
Well, to be
and Sean also agreed. He said the writers did some great misdirection in the last episode because that suit he was wearing was screaming Doomsday to me. Plus, he was coming out of the ground, right? That's like the two reasons why. And they said doomsday. They kept with the misdirection. They said they were definitely misdirecting. I'm so glad they didn't go down that road already.
Hey, Sean, nice to see that you've joined. I hope you're keeping up with your training and your legs doing great. So nice to see you, Sean. Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that'll wrap up our episode today. Thank you all for joining us. Please make sure to slam that like button, subscribe. And if you want to get more involved in the next episode, you can go ahead on our Facebook page, The Wall of Weird, and put in your questions, and we will answer them during the next episode. Also, you can always join us live. So we are hoping to get back to doing this on Thursdays, barring any other issues popping up in our personal lives. Thank you for watching.
And you can always, if you want to get involved, you can always join us back as a guest on the podcast, Abenia.
Yep. And hopefully we will be doing a Smallville podcast soon, as soon as we can get everyone together. So there's been some schedule conflicts. So thank you all, and that's it for the Wall of Weird today.
Good night.
Good night.